Hopefully this will be a blessing to those of you who are Christians, because you know the story. But if you're not a Christian, listen to it. Maybe it'll give you some hope about what's going on in your life today. We read in the Old Testament of a fellow named Joseph, and we're told that his daddy loved him. Fact of the matter is, he might have loved him too much, because he made it known to his other 11 brothers, to Joseph's 11 brothers, that Joseph was his special one. He was born to him in old age, and he just loved him, man. So much so that he gave him this special coat that had many colors, and I don't know that Jacob did a good job of parenting in that regard, because everybody knew he loved Joseph more than any of them, and so that made his brothers hate him. And lots of parts to this story that I can't cover, but at any rate, the brothers ended up selling Joseph into slavery. They soaked his coat of many colors in blood to try to, take it back to tell their father, well, Joseph was killed by, an animal. And at any rate, so they sold him into slavery. He ends up in a very powerful man's house named Potiphar. He rises to the top of the food chain in that home because he is a person of character and integrity. He deals well with others, and so he rises to the top there. Second in control under Potiphar. Well, Potiphar's wife is smitten with him, and she begins chasing after him. She says, come lay with me. And he says, no, I can't do that. And in fact of the matter is, he doesn't even really so much mention Potiphar, although he didn't want to, sleep with Potiphar's wife. But he said, I can't do that to God, man of integrity. So anyway, Potiphar's wife keeps chasing him around. She ends up with his jacket because he takes off from her one time. And she says, see, here's his jacket. He tried to rape me. She framed him. He ended up in jail. In jail, he ends up at the top of the food chain. They see him as a person of character and integrity, and good things happen to him. And so even in jail, he rises to the top. He ends up being second in charge of Egypt. Second in charge of Egypt. And so, as he is second in charge of Egypt, he's done all the right things. Some bad things happened to him by doing the right things, but he was steadfast. He continued doing the right thing. Well, meanwhile, there's a famine in the land, and his brothers, unbeknownst to them, show up before him. They didn't know who he was, but he knew who they were. So they show up because they need food. There's a famine in the land. And again, lots of stuff to the story, but eventually Joseph ends up revealing himself to his brothers. Well, they're terrified because now their father has died, and they say amongst themselves, he's going to get us now. He's going to get his revenge. There's no way that he's going to let us live after all the horrible stuff that we've done to him. But he tells them, he says, you're my brothers, and I love you, and I'm not going to do anything to you. I'm going to take care of you and your family. I'm going to take care of you. You're my people. I'm going to take care of you. And then he says, when you guys were doing all that stuff to me, sold me into slavery, mistreating me, talking about me behind my back, ruining my reputation, you meant it for evil, but God meant it for good. Isn't that powerful? God meant it for good. Romans 8:28 tells us that all things work together for good, not all good things, and that's where we misinterpret that passage. It's not all good things, because every now and then there are going to be some not so good things scattered in there. And so the Apostle Paul says that God uses both the good and the bad to create who we need to be, to bring out the best in us, and to fulfill his will in our lives. So if you got some tough stuff happening today, maybe it's because of some decisions you made, and we just have to own that and accept it and keep pushing forward. But it may be because there's some folks who just are jealous, mean, manipulative, got it out for you for some reason, trying to ruin you, your reputation, your whatever. It's all right. Keep your nose down. Keep doing what you're supposed to be doing. Be a person of integrity. Do the right thing. Sometimes hard when people are against you. They may mean it for evil, but God intends whatever is happening in your life for good. So don't give up. God has a coat of many colors waiting on you if you don't lay down. The world means it for evil, but God means it for some really good stuff, and he has great things in store for you. I love you. God loves you. Keep on keeping on. Good's coming.